of religion has been strategically implemented from the beginning of the death of Yeshua. This theology that has become a religion presents itself as a two-edged sword. It can be beneficial, or it can be destructive. The definition of religion from an explanation written by Austin Klein and updated on June 25, 2019, says, "Many say the etymology of religion lies with the Latin word religare, which means to tie, to bind. This seems to be favored on the assumption that it helps explain the power religion has to bind a person to a community, culture, course of action, ideology, etc. The Oxford English Dictionary points out, though, that the etymology of the word is doubtful. Earlier writers like Cicero connected the term with religere, which means to read over again, perhaps to emphasize the ritualistic nature of religion." An article from the Harold Rosenthal interview, dated December 24, 2020, was initially titled "The Hidden Tyranny." It is said that this concept of Christianity would be purposely used as a religion by the Jewish Zionists to control and subdue the Western world. Their ideal of control was to use multiple different outlets to influence the behavior of a culture. Outlets include media, the political system, the financial system, the educational system, the entertainment system, and most importantly, the religious institutions. To truly understand why Christianity was implemented, you must read this interview. I have chosen not to incorporate any of its narratives because I have been made aware that this document is very dangerous and that it cost Mr. Rosenthal his life. Because we are a product of Western education, we have been trained to follow instructions and memorize the information given. However, in other cultures of education, those enrolling in them would be taught to think critically. To think critically takes a lot of work from the individual. Critical thinking demands that you do extensive research to prove your theory. That is why it is imperative that you do your research on this religion called Christianity/Catholicism in order that you may critically and intentionally understand how this religion evolved into what it is today. When we join Christianity, we are not necessarily joining Christ. To join Christ is to ascend to its place of consciousness so that you would no longer succumb to the power of the physical. The belief system of Christianity teaches us to believe in the stories that the Holy Bible has presented by faith. We are taught not to challenge its concepts or conclusions. We are to believe that the Holy Bible is the infallible and the only Word of God, and this concept is realized based on the belief of the gods of the Hebrews. The God of the Hebrews is known as Yehovah Elohim, and in his orchestration of what is called creation, he could be the infallible word of himself. I speak of Yehovah Elohim in the first person because I want to intentionally draw attention to the fact that he is not the creator, he could be a physical being viewed as a god. Although I believe that there is a spiritual force known as Yehovah that originated from the Elohims, however, we do not know whether or not the Creator created the Elohims in human form or if they were functioning as spiritual powers because, at this time, gods then were also represented in human form, representing the powers of the Creator. At that point, they would be identified or defined as demigods representing both male and female energies. The Creator is not a he or a she, it is both in pure energy and essence. We do not realize this concept from the Hebrew writings. The Hebrew writings depict the Creator as a male entity, and its writings and references are very chauvinistic. Therefore, when reading the Hebrew text, we must consider all that for clarification. When reading the Hebrew Bible, it has been compiled together to establish a narrative. It is a narrative that they have designed to tell their story. In their attempt, their account was hijacked by their conquerors, known as the Roman Empire. The Romans made the story about themselves, yet in code. The winner will get the spoils whenever there is a battle between two entities. The winners can execute their authority over those conquered, which happened when Rome destroyed Judea, Galilee, and Jerusalem. The primary goal of this book is to bring some perspective to the ambiguities of the Hebrew story. My goal is to get all believers who believe in Christianity to a place of consciousness and reconsideration of the presented religion. You can clarify the original story of creation by decoding the stories of the Hebrews. Stories can reveal a truth. However, when doing so, you must be willing to resist this unconditional attitude called faith and critically discover and decode the hidden truth of creation in the Hebrew Bible. Faith will always get in the way of your consciousness. Faith will deny the reality that you would perceive predicated on the information that you acquire. Faith demands that you do not think. Nevertheless, faith is to be incorporated with your knowledge and information based on what you are trying to achieve to assist you in your quest. Faith and believing are two concepts often used interchangeably, but they have distinct meanings regarding religion. Faith is a deep and abiding trust in a higher power or divine force, while believing is more of an intellectual acceptance of certain tenets or doctrines. Faith is often described as a spiritual journey that involves surrendering oneself to a higher power, while believing is more of an intellectual exercise that involves accepting certain truths as a particular religion presents them. Ultimately, faith is a more personal and experiential concept, while believing is more of a cognitive and doctrinal one. Nevertheless, knowledge is the goal. Knowledge would incorporate both faith and belief. Having faith and having knowledge are two different things. Faith is a belief or trust in something that cannot be proven or verified, while knowledge is information that has been proven or verified through evidence and experience. Faith often involves a personal or spiritual connection to a higher power or divine force, while knowledge is based on empirical evidence